I'm just like practicing. Perfecting it.
You do? Here then. All right.
Such family atmosphere.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I just need a song. Kalayatinaina.
On page unknown. Starts with the letter K. Good luck. 342.
Oh, it's totally. This is ashram life. I'm not sure I'm ready for it.
You won't be able to. No, it's because of me, not your fault. My singing. Kalayati Nayana Deshi Deshi Valitam Ankachamiva Mirdu Madhuta Chalitam
I'm on Josh.
8 or 9,
10:30.
10:32.
We have a clock now.
5 minutes. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Nitai, 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 Nitai. say these three words. It's real three times.
Go for it.
Words three times.
Namashinga.
Narasimha.
Narasimha. Narasimha.
We're
We're not doing more kirtan. We're not doing more kirtan.
It works.
Finished.
Not kidding.
No more. You're all wrong. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you all for coming today. Looks like many people are off to a late start with the cold weather, which is not what's happening. So we'll begin today with Hari Katha from Srimati Shamarani Didi. How many people don't know who Srimati Shamarani Didi is? By show of hands.
Not yet.
So Didi is our resident sadhu in Miami. This is the center that we've made under her guidance for Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada, the Gaudiya Outreach Center. And she's been practicing Bhakti Yoga in this lifetime. She has been practicing Bhakti Yoga in this lifetime for 55 plus years. All the art on the walls you see is her service to her gurus. And she's going to speak today a little bit more on the topic of Guru Tattva. And any other specific topic today?
So now we're coming on this side.
So we'll spin face this way. That's going to be a horrible seat. This one? Yeah. My front door.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
please find a
please
better
don't
spot.
sit
Oh,
there.
fire.
He's like, huh? Am I really in the wrong place?
Okay, let me set up. I gotta set up the other. Not needed. It's gonna be recording. The live stream is live, by the way.
Under surveillance.
So.
It's going to the FBI.
The only thing is the people coming in are gonna.
Is the green light on?
It won't stay on. It flashes.
Oh, here, let's just switch. Can someone pass the mic back there? And let's switch it out. There should be a mic on the floor over there. I'll just get it. Oh, unless that was the mic they just gave her. No, sorry, I put it there. Excuse me. Yes, my bad. Yes, sorry. Oh, Vishwarupa.
Agyanam timirandasya Gyananjanasalakaya Chaksurasmiritamina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Prabhalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadvaktaya Namo Namah Yam Pravrajantam Manupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayanam Viramaka Taruvajuvavam
Oh, that's where it is. It's okay.
Taravobhine First, I offer my unlimited obeisances. Vishaka, what did your Guru Maharaj say? Yeah.
We need to have this a bit more clear and this a bit more clear because people will be coming and going through these things.
That's, if the kids move, that'll be fine. He can stay there, I think. No, but now, yeah. But the kids move.
You show them where to go.
Yes.
First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pai, Astotra Sat Shishimai, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om. Thank you for being happy that I'm developing Sukritis by learning the Lord's garden. I also offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Vishnu Pai, Astotra Sat Shishimai, Srila Bhakti Vedanta, Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and to all the assembled devotees. So we're continuing with Akhanda Guru Tattva. Akhanda means, refers to the undivided principle of Guru. Guru is one, as our Srila Prabhupada said in 1936 on the appearance day of his Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, that Guru is one, but he takes infinite forms to help us advance. I asked Gurudev in Los Angeles, we hear you say, scriptures say, our Guru Varga says that Guru is one. Yet, in this very life, I've had two Gurus, my Diksha Guru, Srila Prabhupada, and you. So how do I understand that? So he said, Krishna is one, and yet he took millions of forms in the Rasa Leela and danced with each and every gopi. So in the same way, Guru is a manifestation of that same Krishna, who is one, but he's manifest in so many forms because he's manifestation of Krishna.
So the one Krishna is already all of those Krishnas, isn't it? Like,
In the rasa dance?
like he doesn't have to expand himself, it's already.
Advaita Achyutam Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navajovanam Cha Vede Sudurlabham Adurlabham Atmabhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Advaita, one without a second, Achyuta, infallible, Anadir, the beginning of everything, but he has no other beginning other than himself. Anantarupam, even though he's one, and even though Adyam Purana Purusham Navajovanamcha, even though he's the oldest, at the same time, his original form is a fresh, ever fresh teenage youth. He has Anantarupam, unlimited forms. And each form, although with a form, is unlimited. It would seem that if he's already unlimited, how is he going to fit even one more form in the area of existence? What to speak of unlimited forms? And yet he does. So I hope that answers your question.
Right, because I was
Okay, so now we've been discussing, you can ask for questions at the end. We've been discussing the Sri Shikshastakam. Sorry, Gurvastakam by Srila Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur. And so we discussed the first verse, Samsara Davanani Loka, that the material world is like a forest fire, and he's like the cloud that showers the rain of mercy, gathered from the ocean of auspicious qualities from Krishna to put out that fire. Then the second verse, what is it? The second verse is Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nityagita, living in that transcendental world and dancing with Srimati Radhika and the other gopis in the service of Krishna. He's controlled by that love and those pastimes to dance, sing, jump in this material world, with all the ecstatic symptoms that he has in his she form in Goloka Vrindavan as an associate. We'll come more to that understanding of how he and she simultaneously, when we come to the verse Nikunja Jorno Ratateli. Sorry, when we come to the verse Shakshad Hari Tvena Samasta Shastri. Then Chatur Vidar, we discussed how he's always offering, who's there? Dandavats, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Bhagavad Maharaj.
He's in the live stream.
He's what?
Right in the live stream.
Great.
Wave to the camera.
Where are we? Right, so he offers 4 kinds of foodstuffs. That which is chewed, swallowed, drunk, and licked up. He goes with Radharani every morning to make breakfast. He cooks with her, led by Champakalata, one of her 8 principal sakis, at noon. He sends his manjaris, she sends her manjaris to bring her evening prasadam to Krishna. And that's a very interesting story which I forgot to mention the other day, which is that in the morning, Radharani brings her sakis out with her to cook in Krishna's palace. In the evening, she cooks at home and sends her maidservants. We'll find out more in the subsequent verses of Guru Vastakam, how he and she simultaneously. So the manjaris, led by Rati Manjari or Rupa Manjari and our Guru Manjari, goes to Krishna's house, and when she sees Mother Yasoda and bows down, Mother Yasoda embraces her and asks, "How's Radhika?" "She's well, she's good." And then the prasadam is offered to the Narayan Shila of Mother Yasoda, and then Krishna eats, and then the remnants are brought back to Radharani. And she asks Rati Manjari, "So, did Krishna taste everything I made?" "Yes." "Did he enjoy it?" "Yes." "How do you know?" "I just know." So how did Radharani know that she knew? Because she looked in the eyes of Rati Manjari and saw that Krishna was satisfied. So what did she do? She began weeping with ecstasy that Krishna enjoyed that prasadam. So then the next verse is, that was number 4. Number 5, Sri Radhikama Davayodapada. He's always remembering with great greed, ever increasing greed. Here there's satiation. All right, I've had enough. But there's no satiation. Our Srila Prabhupada gave the example. So you take a gulab jamun is a very juicy sweet. But then you I'll take more, I'll take more, I'll take more. And then, no thank you. You're too stuffed and you don't even feel good anymore. But there, the greed increases at every moment. The freshness of the scene increases at every moment, unlimitedly. Srila Gurudev quoted Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada That's separation and meeting. Separation makes meeting ever fresh and new. Separation and meeting go on increasing up to the spiritual world forever. So, we discussed how he's always remembering the past times with great greed to have more and more, and how he's training his followers to develop that greed, not only because it's not sufficient to think of the pastimes without greed. Greed to what? Greed to enter those pastimes, following in the footsteps, and that's the essence of all advice, of all the Vedic scriptures, to follow in the footsteps of the associates of the Lord, who are an ocean of the service that I aspire for. In other words, Rupa Manjari and all of her followers down to the Giorno Ratikeli Siddhai yesterday, and then finally today. I don't think we discussed that very much. How we want that service. Once in New York, one of my god sisters spent an hour telling me about bad quality, but this time he called for me right after the walk, and he said, it's not enough to think negatively. I didn't say a word. It's not enough to think negatively of how unqualified you are. There has to be some positive thinking. And what's that positive thinking? He quoted the 9th verse. Yesterday we quoted 3, 5, and 7 of Manushiksha, and here he's quoting the 9th verse. And he Brajavane Swarim Tam Natatve Taratula Sakhi Ve Sulalitam Vishakam Shikshali Vitarana Guru Te Priyasara Indra Prapreksha Lalita Ratidadve Smaramana. All mind. Always remember Vrindavan Chandra, Sri Krishna, as the Lord of my Swamini, not God, but the Lord of the life of my Swamini, Shri Radhika's life. Vrindavaneshwari, Shrimati Radhika, as my mistress, and Giriraj Govardhan, as those who grant darshan of Sri Sri Radha Krishna and bestow sublime attachment for them. So he's appealing to all of us to do whatever we need to do to develop that greed. Then, in the Kunja Giorno Ratikeli Siddhai, he's always assisting the gopis who are engaged in assisting Radha and Krishna in their loving affairs. So I'd like to speak about how Sri Guru, in that form, does that service. An example. So, can I have the G clay, Santi? So the painting, the original painting of Kunj Kirtan.
Right here? You want this one? Is this it?
The original painting of Kunj Kirtan is over there.
Jai Shri Gurudev! Jai Shri Radha
Shri
Raman
Shri
Lal!
Prem Priyojan
Jai!
Prabhu ki Jai. So in the morning, early in the morning, in the Shantalila, Radha and Krishna and some of the Manjaris are there. Radharani has a plan.
But I mean, like, if he wants to
How to
have it
make
right
Krishna
there,
happy,
like a little,
not
like a
at
little
present,
stool.
but for the future.
See how he has them there?
So she comes out
It'll be fine.
of the Kunj
It'll
into the courtyard. This is the courtyard. And she meets with her Sakis and Manjaris how to have a Sankirtan performance for the pleasure of Krishna. In the meantime, Krishna is feeling lonely because she left him alone with the Manjaris. So Krishna came out and the Sakis sat at her lotus feet. And then they all began the Sankirtan program. Incidentally, all the ragas, raginis, all the tunes of our acharyas, including Narada Muni, comes from the gopis in the rasa dance. So then they started singing and dancing, playing musical instruments, and all of a sudden, Srimati Radhika felt tired. So Rati Manjari stood up, that's the original over there, stood up and lied and said, I'm just going to pick flowers, I'll be right back. So their lying is exquisite because it's all in relation to the absolute truth. Here it's abominable, unless it's in Krishna's service. So then she left. She came back very quickly, and here you can see, if you're very close, you can see the string coming from the waist belt, and she's tying it on so that nobody knows. So this is one of the Nikunja services that our Gurudev does in the spiritual world, assisting the gopis who are assisting. They're not at all interested in having a direct relationship with Krishna, because they only want to have, like Gurudev was speaking with one of my god sisters, and he said, so I'm speaking here with Shamarani, and we're laughing. And you're laughing, you're not at all part of the conversation, but you're laughing. Why? It's a vicarious experience. So Gurudev in that other form, which goes on simultaneously, he has no interest in direct relationship with Krishna. Rather, Krishna may get the impressions of, that's another thing. If Krishna, for example, gets, Radharani becomes happy that the altar of her feet came onto Krishna's head by some pastime, then she, a plenary portion of Krishna, non-different, the most dear to Krishna. How? As the maidservant of Srimati Radhika. Sri Guru is a manifestation, Diksha Guru is a manifestation of the Rupa, or form of Krishna, and the Shiksha Guru is a manifestation of the Swarup, or nature, intrinsic nature of Krishna. His form and nature are one. His within and without are one. I asked Chula Gurudev once on an airplane. His disciple Vrinda Devi and I were sitting in the back seat, and the back seat means right in front of the bathrooms. And Gurudev was online to go to the bathroom, so he was standing in the aisle right by our seat. And what did I think? Great opportunity to ask a question. So I said, what does it mean in the Acharya's literatures when it says that when Krishna is feeling separation from Radharani, his face looks like a dried up blue lotus flower? So he said, again referring to Krishna's inside and outside being the same, he said, just like you, when you're not feeling well, when you're sick, you're like this. So how you are inside comes out on the outside. So similarly, Guru is one. The Rup and the Swarup. There's a very interesting kirtan that Gurudev had us sing in in Morillambar on the day of his appearance, around 2000-ish. It's Atmani Vedana Tua Pade Kori Mainu Paramasuki. Having something, this sounds like a song to Krishna, doesn't it? Having submit my soul at your feet, I am supremely elated. Sorrow is banished, and no anxieties remain. I see only bliss in all four directions. Your two lotus feet are the reservoirs of nectar that bestow freedom from lamentation and fear. Now, by taking refuge in them, I have given up the fear of worldly existence. I shall serve in your household, never partaking of the fruits of my labor. I shall diligently tend to your satisfaction only in my house, being dedicated to your lotus feet. In the course of serving you, whatever difficulties I experience is indeed my topmost joy. The pains and pleasures of service are the greatest assets, for they destroy the misery of nescience. I've completely forgotten my past history due to experiencing the joy of serving you. All I know is that I'm yours and you're mine. What need is there of any other treasure? Who is this to? It's to Sri Guru. That's what it's to Krishna, but it's also to Sri Guru. Why? Shakshat Haritva. Krishna is Vishaya, Krishna, and Guru is the abode. Krishna is the object of love, and Guru is the Krishna in the form of the abode of that love, the reservoir of that love. I wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada once, and I said, so you say to think of Krishna, but it's so nice to think of you. Is it okay to think of you? So he said that, yes, Guru and Krishna are one, but then he transferred it to Krishna. So if you want to hate anybody, hate Krishna, because that will be transformed into spirit gradually. Then he said, therefore, we not only cherish and honor the pictures of Krishna, but of Guru as well. We don't throw them here and there, put them on the floor. And then he said, in the spiritual world, both the picture and the person are real. Be moving, but really the moon is fixed in one place, and it's the clouds that are moving in the other direction. Similarly, he's always fixed up in that atmosphere, and he appears to be doing so many things in this world. Once a few of us were surrounding him really close in 1992, and looking right at him, looking right at us, and he said, "You're not seeing me." So then, so Shakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastri. He knows everything, like Krishna knows everything. As Prem Priyojana Prabhu mentioned the other day, he's Mugdata, Mugdata, and Sarvakirta. He's very innocent, not knowing something when he doesn't want to know it, and knowing everything when he wants to know it. He said in France that suppose you come to me, and I say, how are you doing? Just fine, fine, Gurudev. How are you doing? Oh, just fine. You're not telling me that you have a few girlfriends. So that thing that you didn't tell me, it's going in like a needle and out like an atom bomb to destroy your bhakti. Another time in Hawaii, a husband and wife came to him, and he said, "Stop beating your wife." And he said, "I'm not beating her, Gurudev." "Yes, you are." "Well, okay, I admit that I was, but I'm not now." "Yes, you are. I was there. I know you're still doing it. Stop beating her."
Oh my God.
And how he controls. In Mowillimbar, there was another husband and wife who came. Her name is Ujjayspur, I forget his name. So anyway, Jugal Kishore, thank you. And so, because of the bad propaganda Gurudev was getting, they were both very hesitant when they first came, but she immediately fell in love with Gurudev. He was still, I don't know about it, completely ignoring him. So every day hearing Gurudev's classes, he was becoming more and more attracted until the last day when he completely fell in love with Gurudev, but at the same time he was completely frustrated that he wasn't getting any attention. So at the last moment, Gurudev turned to him and said, I'm working on it. Kintu prabhuya priya eva tasya, the second part of that verse. At the same time, he's the most dear to Krishna as a servant. What kind of servant? As a maid servant of Srimati Radhika. When Gurudev asked me to, I'm going to stop at 11:30 so that each of you can have a half hour. So that we can stop at 12:30. 1, I'm sorry. 1 is the prashadam. And then we're going out on Harinam. So when Gurudev first asked me to do this painting, he said, can you paint my heart? Can you paint my heart? So this is actually the heart of Sri Guru. On one side he's Shakshat Hari, another side he's like this. This painting took about 5 months. About 4 months into it, I was having the worst time in my life. When they just wake up. So you've messed everything up of all my garments and my ornaments. So dress me properly before my sakis come. So Krishna said, yes, I will do that, because that was exactly what he wanted, that service. That's the highest form of God. Isn't that amazing? As servant of Srimati Radhika. So then the manjaris here, he said, whatever you can fit in comfortably. Don't make it heebie-jeebie, crowded. So you could fit in comfortably 5. So not only are they experiencing whatever Srimati Radhika is experiencing, but besides that, knowing that Krishna is ready to dress and decorate, they immediately come in with a comb, so you can comb her hair, the unguents, the musk, the kumkum, the tambul, all those things so that Krishna can engage in the service of Srimati Radhika. Other services that this kinkari or maidservant Sri Guru does in that form, kintu, but that he's Shakshat Hari, he's also the servant. Like, they engage in the similar services as the Sakis. There are various numbers, as mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, of services in Madhurati. Madhurarati. There's, as Sri Prem Purojana Prabhu was explaining yesterday, there's 2 sections of Madhurya Ras. One is direct relationship with Krishna, and those who want everything through Srimati Radhika. But their services are very similar. They're also in the category of Kamatmika, or Madhurya Ras, conjugal love, but in a different way. So for example, our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, in his Manjari form, Srila Gurudev said, I want you to make her braid dancing like a snake, like hissing, about to attack. When Krishna sees her and sees that braid, then he becomes so charmed that he's about to faint. And in this book, this is a show and tell, isn't it? In this book, Gurudeva Tatma, incidentally, I just want to put in a commercial. It's any number of books, any number of posters for any donation. And I know that all of you have all the books, but you're going back to your cities, your areas, so you can take a ton of books for your distribution for any donation. So in this Gurudeva Tatma, Gurudev explains in the last chapter that I think many of you are familiar with the Seva Kunj, where Krishna is praying to Srimati Radhika, Smaragadala Kandanam Mama Shirishi Mandanam Dehi Parapalavam Udaram, that I'm so much burning in the fire of separation from you. Only the cooling petals of your lotus feet can soothe and destroy that fire, cool down the fire. So please be merciful to me and put your lotus feet on my head. Very interestingly and surprisingly enough, Srila Gurudev said he also says that to the manjaris. He also offers obeisances to the manjaris. In one prayer, when I was doing the painting of Rupa Manjari, Gurudev said that one of her prayers, where are you? One of her prayers in the form of Rupa Goswami is that when will the day come when, not when I will be so pure as to offer obeisances to Krishna, but when Krishna will offer obeisances to me, bow down to me, and beg me to take him into the Kunj to meet with Srimati Radhika, because he's made some offense. So, so many beautiful services she renders. Gurudev said in Fiji that if Krishna becomes angry at me, then I would say, don't you realize who I am? I'm a maid servant of Srimati Radhika. Oh, excuse me. Even Krishna is subservient. Then, Yashak Prashadat Bhagavat Prashadan, Yashak Prashadan Nagati Kutobi. So by pleasing the spiritual master, then automatically Krishna is pleased. And by not pleasing the spiritual master, one's whereabouts are unknown. That's Prabhupada's words. Or, in other words of Prabhupada's, one is nowhere. If anyone thinks that Sri Guru knows everything spiritual, he can quote anything and everything, but he doesn't know everything material. I know more than him. That person immediately becomes fallen, just by thinking like that. Actually, it's stated in one purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam that he has unlimited intelligence to guide his disciple. And that's why it's stated, as quoted last night, Yashadeve Tataguro Tatadeve Yashadeve Parabhaktir Yatadeve Tataguro. And the word is Parabhakti, meaning Uttama Bhakti, one who has sufficient faith in the Supreme Lord and is engaged in Uttama Bhakti, but has more Bhakti for Sri Guru, then, as Krishna says, one who says he's the servant of my servant is not my servant, or one who says he's the servant of my servant, he's really my servant. So, one who has more love and faith and surrender to Sri Guru, all the Vedic literatures become revealed in his heart. As we see in many histories, when the Guru of a surrendered disciple is pleased with him, he may touch him on the head or just say, I bless you that all the Vedic knowledge is coming in your heart. Talk about knowing material things. As Sri Narada told to Vyasdev when he was encouraging him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam, when I engaged in devotional service, pure devotional service, all mystic powers and all knowledge became situated in me as an insignificant byproduct. All mystic powers are in Sri Guru. That means becoming lighter than an atom, heavier. Look at Hanuman. Became small, very small like a cat, big as a mountain, jumped over an ocean. Similarly, Sri Guru has those mystic powers. Srila Gurudev told one history in which is in his Gopi Geet. He took a little side detour to tell this story about one Smarta Brahman. He knew the Smritis, and his guru was an impersonalist, and they wanted to kill him because he was so clever. That the Guru was afraid that he would defeat him in philosophy later on. What's the first name? Kumariel Bhatta. He was studying at a university, and he had a guru who was impersonalist. So his disciples threw him. They said, well, if you believe in God, let's see if he'll save you. So then he said, if my God is true, he will surely save me. So they threw him up off a many-story building down to the floor. He said, you won't die. So all he got was a little scratch. And they said to him, why did you get a scratch? He said, because I said if my God is true. So what to speak of Sri Guru, who's can control Krishna? How much mystic power and knowledge he has in this world. He was talking to my godbrothers. This is will appear and did appear in Vilapas Manjali, that he's encouraging to come to a higher level of relationship to Sri Guru. And then my godbrother said, well, that relationship is so rare to think he's my life, he's my soul. And Gurudev said, but that we want to enter into the higher realms of bhakti, Raganuga bhakti. If we think he's so high and I'm so low, that's a good level to begin with. But ultimately we want our goal to be to come to such a level of Visrambena Guru Seva that Guru will no longer think that he is my disciple. Rather, he will think he is my heart. That's an amazing position to come to. I once asked Srila Gurudev, like when I say Srila Prabhupada, there's so much fear element in me because of all the offenses that I committed in the so many years since I was initiated by him. So what do I do? Is there a more Rasic meaning of Prabhupada that I can think of, the word? So he said, Prabhu means Krishna, but Krishna has two sides, Vishaya and Ashraya. So Sri Guru is also Prabhu, the other side of Prabhu, but he's at his lotus feet in the form of a maidservant, your Pranpriya Saki. He said you can think of him as very beautiful teenage gopi, almost as beautiful as Rupa Manjari, with very beautiful decorated braids and a beautiful gopi vesh, gopi garments. This is the real meaning of Jaya Prabhupada. What does Jaya mean? When we say Jai Prabhupada, Jai Gurudev, wherever there's Jai, those of you who know Hindi, there's also Harjai. Harjai is the defeated party. If there's a Jai, victorious party, then there's going to be a defeated party as well. So, Jai Gurudev, Jai Prabhupada, means that I'm praying to you to be the winning party against the other party, which I want to be the losing party, which is my mind, my senses, my material intelligence, my lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, and envy. You know, when one country takes over another country, it just loots everything, takes over, controls. So in that way, Prabhupada was yesterday was Atmasat, Goramore Atmasat, make me yours, make me like you. So in this way, I'm going to end in just one moment, but I just wanted to say one last thing about the Kunj Kirtan painting. This verse, in the third verse of Vilapa Kusumanjali, the verse says, the whole book is written by Raghunath Das Goswami, who in his Manjari form is Rati Manjari. And he prays, "Oh Rati Manjari, you're the most fortunate girl in this village of Braj, because among all of them, you were the one who was selected by Srimati Radhika to get her golden waist belt from the Kunja." Well, how is that he's praying to his own self? He isn't. Just as Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the whole book is written by him, but except when he's obviously quoting a scripture. But this particular verse was written by Rupa Goswami. You all know the verse. What is it? Anarpita Chuding Chudat Karunaya Vatirnam Kalo Samarpaitam Unad Ojvalarasam Hari Purata Sundara Dyuti Kadamba Sandipika Sada Hridaya Kandare Spurituva. It's a blessing by Srila Rupa Goswami for all jivas that they may be blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who didn't come in a very long time. Since the last day of Brahma, that's a long time. Trillions and trillions and trillions and countless trillions, there's a number, of years. Since the last day of Brahma, that's when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give this great gift, as you heard last night. And what is that? He came to taste Krishna, came to taste the love of Srimati Radhika, and to give, to donate to the world the maid service of Srimati Radhika. As brilliant as molten gold, may he be situated in the innermost region of your heart. So just as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, whose Shiksha Guru was Rupa Goswami, thought, well, if I give a blessing, it's not going to be as powerful as if my Gurudev gives the blessing. So he put in his blessing. Similarly, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami took Srila Rupa Goswami's verse verbatim. Again, Guru in this world, Guru Sati in that world. Here, Srila Rupa Goswami is telling Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, you can write, and whatever you write will be successful. In that world, Rupa Manjari is also blessing Rati Manjari, that you're so fortunate that it was you who Radharani selected. So, in two ways, getting the blessings from Sri Guru. If you see there in the painting, Rati Manjari is putting on the waist belt, and everyone's absorbed and they're singing and dancing and playing musical instruments. But Rupa Manjari, like kind of like that, looks like she's knowing what's going on. And that's because she can read every glance of Srimati Radhika. And so she knew that Radhika was telling Rati Manjari to go into the kunja of the cave and get the waist belt. And so in all ways, Yashat Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada. Okay, thank you very much. I'll end here. Tomorrow we'll talk more it's about memories of Gurudev, and I have so many in relation to these personalities. Panchagopacharudyashtra Kapisandhavyacha Patitanam Pavebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. She wants to introduce you.
amazing explanation of Shri Guru Vastakam. Just wanted to personally wanted to personally welcome everyone to Gaudiya Vedanta Outreach, especially Shripad Bhagavat Raj and Shripad Akhanda Raj, Shripad Prayojan Prabhu. Thank you so much for coming. You're roaming the world, so I never come from Alachua and New York and North Carolina and Miami, so we're so happy to have you here, and just wanted to briefly express how fortunate I feel that you're here and that I've had, although I'm also just a teeny tiny baby, I've had the honor and I'm in the ICU, so really was placed with Shamrani for the last almost 20 years, so I've had the great fortune of being around the three of you, and I was just remembering so many beautiful things. I remember Shripad Vaikana Maharaj and Shripad Bhagavat Maharaj, they're so incredible, are pioneers in Srila Prabhupada's mission here in the West, and they've done so much seva in since the early 70s, and they're always so kind and so caring. I remember one time, Vyasa Puja time in Kona, Hawaii, Sharmarangidi in the morning was just like, spinning, could not move. And I was like, oh no, she's going to Vyasa Puja, she's going to have to speak today. Shripad Bhagavat Raj is also a doctor, and I went running to your room. It was early, really early, and I knocked on your door, and I was like, Sharmarangidi can't move, and he was like just bathed in Gamsha, and he was like, what? And he just came running, didn't care about his appearance, or just pushed some points, and boom, she was fine. Wow. And spoke that day. And so, and Shripad Vaikana Maharaj always keeping us laughing, and always so practical. Whenever there's big decisions or anything going on, so much advice is taken from him. And he's opened a temple in Bangalore, and I remember when he was leaving Vrindavan, and him and a couple boys, they had like 3,000 rupees. They're like, should we buy a Mridanga or books? And off they went, just with this such incredible spirit, and always just so inspiring to be around. And then I remember in the Gita Govinda Marathon, when Shri Prayojan Prabhu and team were editing that book, and these memories just kept coming to me because we were in Anandadam. Do you remember that? Shamrani was painting Manani Radha at that time, and I remember you were staring. I could practically feel the waterfall, hear the waterfall, and see it moving. So it was so incredible, and you're translating our Gurude's lectures.
Incredible.
From Hindi and Bengali. We wouldn't have understood anything without you. Prem Samput, all this amazing katha that Gurudev was giving in Mathura, especially before Kartik started, like Prem Samput and Vriha Bhavatamrita, and so you would translate for us. So it's just incredible. So I'll be together today for Gurudev's Vyasa Puja tomorrow. So thank you so much, and keep coming every year, and more than every year. And I think
may I suggest, Shripad Bhagavat Maharaj, that you sit here, because the people over there, I don't know if they are able to see you. You can't see him, right?
There's a few.
Can you see him? Maybe you see half of him.
We can't see any of them.
No.
Okay, be careful of the water.
We can't see any of them.
Good. Is that better?
Yeah.
Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana-Salakaya Chaksuram-militam Yena Tasmai Sri-Gurave Namaha Sri-Chaitanya-Manovistam Savitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Karamaya Didanti Swapadanti. First of all, I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Diksha and Shiksha Guru, Nityamila Krishna Vishnu Pada Satara Sapasisi Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Shiksha and Sannyas Guru, Nityamila Krishna Vishnu Pada Satara Sapasisi Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. I I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Shiksha Gurus and the Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga. And I offer my obeisances unto the feet of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are present here today. Headed by the Sannyasi Gan, Sri Vaikanas Maharaj, Sri Prem Prayojan Prabhu, and Nasi Maharaj. So, today, this morning, I thought I'd tell you a few random stories and pastimes of my interaction and experience with Srila Gurudev. And then tonight, I'm going to speak about the intimate relationship between Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev, so that you can understand the depth of their love and affection and devotion for each other. So, I had met Srila Gurudev, of course, in 1977 when we came to see Srila Prabhupada. I went to see him in 1996 when Srila Govinda Maharaj brought this book. So, that time, I went to see him in Mathura, after being in Bhubaneswar for a while. That's where I first met him very and we brought Nishringa, he was 5 years old. So, when I went to see Srila Gurudev, I was telling Madhav Maharaj, who at that time was Naveen Krishna. So I want to see your Gurudev, I need to speak with him about something. So there had been some, of course, tension between ISKCON and Gurudev. And they were suspicious of who I was and why I was there. Which I could understand, and I don't blame them. So then, they invited me to come into the room, and there was so many of them in the room with Gurudev. So I could tell they were a little worried that who is this big man who has come here to see our Gurudev? Maybe it's going to cause some trouble. So I looked at him and I said, could you remember me? He said, no. Because when he saw me in Vrindavan that time, I was doing Chaturmas. And I had been eating one meal a day for 4 months. And I weighed 170 pounds. I was very thin for me. So now I came to see him, I was 250 pounds, I was. Yes, and I had this big red mustache. But at that time I had a big red beard when I was doing the Chaturmas. So I said to him, I was doing Chaturmas, I had a big red beard. And then his eyes went way open. Oh, yes, I remember you. So So then everybody in the room relaxed, because they realized that we had an old relationship. So we talked a little bit. I asked him a few questions. And when he would come to America, because that was just before he came to America for the first time, Srila Gurudev had tried to work out some cooperative arrangement with the devotees in ISKCON, because he wanted to fulfill the request of Srila Prabhupada that he preach to his disciples in the West. So he kept telling them, he told everyone, he said, look, you do all the initiations and make all the disciples. Just let me do the shiksha. Just let me educate them. Because he understood that there was some abhiman there about this whole possession of the disciples. But they ended up banning him from ISKCON. This banning was very, very serious offense. I'm going to tell you a very important story. I was president of Calcutta in 1975. And I received a letter from Srila Prabhupada. I want you to find me one nice apartment in Calcutta. All right. Why he wants an apartment in Calcutta, I didn't know, but later on, he explained to me. I called some real estate agents, they came, we discussed, they gave me brochures, I gave them to Srila. Then he explained that he didn't tell me directly, the secretary explained to me what was going on. Brahman was the secretary. So what happened was, Prabhupada's youngest son became very upset. That Srila Prabhupada had left the house, he left the family, he had gone to America, he now had all these beautiful mansions in the West and so much money and everything. He was thinking material, from a material perspective. And his mother, whom he was living with and loved very dearly, was being asked to leave the family home, the apartment that they had in the complex. Prabhupada had an apartment within the family complex in Calcutta. The Mukher, what is it, Mukher? Not the Mukher. That family, in his family. The Gays, yeah. But what happened was, they wanted her to leave. She had no place to go. So he wrote to Prabhupada. He said, your wife is in abject poverty. She has no place to go. She has nothing to, nowhere to live. She has no money. Her clothes are ragged. And you are living like a millionaire. How can you do this to her? He was very upset. Very upset. So he threatened him. I'm going to call a press conference and tell all the newspapers what you have done to your wife. Unless you give me money. I want money. So, Srila Prabhupada was going to get one apartment for her. And give some stipend every month by which she could live. To appease them. Which they accepted. At the time. So, when Srila Prabhupada was leaving this world, he had his will. If you look at the original copy of the will, you'll see my signature on the will. I'm one of the signatories on the will. Bhagavat Das Brahmachari, trustee for the Bhubaneswar project. the original trustees. So, you will also notice in the will that he wrote in there, it was printed on the will, when the will was printed out, that only a disciple can be a trustee. So the wording was a disciple. And Srila Prabhupada understood what the mentality of his son was. That he will get initiated by some guru and then he will say, I'm a disciple. I can be trustee. So Prabhupada crossed it out, a disciple. And by his hand he wrote, my disciple. It must be my disciple. The Ritviks took that to mean that Prabhupada was saying that this is Ritvik. All the disciples in the future will be my disciple. They did not understand the actual deep meaning of what Srila Prabhupada was doing. But because I was a signatory on the will and I was present there, I knew what was going on. And when I tell the Ritviks the story, they become very angry. So, after this, when Srila Prabhupada leaves, his son makes a court case against ISKCON. In the court case, he tells that according to Shastra, only a Brahmin can take sannyas. And my father is in the Kayashta community, Vaishya community, he cannot take sannyas. He is not a Brahmin, he cannot take sannyas, and I will prove it in court. So therefore, because he can't take sannyas, that means that this is not the property of his sannyas institution. It is the property of Abhay Charanavinda Day as my father, and because he's my father, therefore all this property, all ISKCON, all the money, everything belongs to me. I'm his son. This was his argument. So, we were young boys. We were incompetent. We had no way of fighting this case in the court. We had no idea how to argue it. But Gurudev knew. Gurudev knew. And so he came to, we asked him to please come to the court to give evidence that that Prabhupada was qualified to take sannyas. What was sannyas? And all this evidence, what he gave, there's a book that Gurudev wrote later on called 5 Essays. In there's one essay, and that about sannyas, Vaishnava sannyas. But everything that he spoke in the court is in that essay. He has given it. So, Prabhupada's son comes to the court with these big pundits from Bengal. This is like when Baldev Vijayabhushan went to argue with those big Ramanujas in Jaipur. So these big pundits came in and they're quoting here and there, here and there. But Gurudev gets up, and then they question Gurudev. And Gurudev gives the whole history of what is Mayavadi sannyas, what is Vaishnava sannyas, how one is qualified to take sannyas, not by birth, but by qualification. Like this, all the things which could prove the truth of Srila Prabhupada's sannyas, he gave all the evidence. All the evidence. And in the end, they won the court case. Because of his testimony. Without his testimony, ISKCON would have become the property of Prabhupada's son. So after he saved the entire institution by his preaching, they banned him. Oh, you can't come here. This is the level of hypocrisy and deceit that was practiced. So Srila Gurudev, he loved Srila Prabhupada very dearly. I will tell all these stories tonight about Prabhupada and Gurudev and their deep, deep, intimate relationship. Then you will understand. But I wanted to tell you these stories about Gurudev's court case and a few pastimes I had with Gurudev. Prayoja mentioned about my mustache.
Red.
I had a
It's
big
amazing.
red mustache, handlebar mustache.
I've seen it.
With a twist, I used to use mustache. Some of you may remember it, I don't know. So when I took Vanaprastha, I thought I cannot wear, now I'm wearing saffron, I have to shave the mustache. So I'm on the morning walk with Gurudev. Gurudev looks at me, he said, "Where's your mustache?" I said, "Gurudev, I've taken saffron cloth. I can't wear a mustache." No. I liked your mustache. You look like a great king. Of course, he could see that in a previous birth, many years ago, I was actually a king in India. So he was remembered. Because he could see 10,000 births. So, later we're in Los Angeles. I'm with Tirtha Maharaj was there, and I'm taking Tirtha Maharaj to see some wealthy Indians. So we went to see this one group of Indians, and there was a man there who could read the palm. So, Tirtha Maharaj is a very soft-hearted person. Oh, read my palm. So he read his palm, and he read my palm. So then we came back. Gurudev was asking him, so what happened? So Tirtha Maharaj was telling him, and he told him that this palmist was reading my palm and he read his palm. And Gurudev got very excited. He said, "Oh, what did he say about him?" He's pointing to me because I was standing next to Guru. "What did he say about him?" So Tirtha Maharaj told him, "The man said that he is a great king, but he has no kingdom." And Gurudev said, "Yes, this is correct." So, this is some rasa I had with Gurudev, being king. Then, after this, I was in Italy preaching. That time I was preaching in Sicily. In Sicily, there had been one temple of ISKCON in Catania. And when ISKCON decided to abandon the temple, because there was a series of problems there, Bhagavan was there and he left. Then all the disciples got reinitiated by Jagadish, and then he left, and then Harikesh, and then he left. So by this time everyone was like, we have enough. 3 strikes and you're out. So a group of the devotees said, look, we love Krishna, we love Prabhupada, we're going to make a Ritvik temple. So we're just going to keep this ISKCON temple and make it a Ritvik temple. So they kept the building. And you're laughing, it wasn't so funny for the devotees who had to go through it.
Right.
3 fallen gurus.
Which temple was
Crazy.
it?
That's, yeah.
Yeah, very painful. So then they made it a temple, a Ritvik temple. They loved Prabhupada. Who could not love Prabhupada? Everyone loved Prabhupada. So they made a Ritvik temple. So I went there to preach to the Grihastha families who were the disciples of Srila Narayana. And I was preaching there to them, and they called the president of the Ritvik temple to come and see me, and asked him to sit on the lecture. I said, this sannyasi, he preaches like Prabhupada. You will like it. So they came, and I was quoting everything from Prabhupada's books, and we were explaining all the philosophy, and he was very happy. So he said, you please come and preach in our temple. I said, okay. So I went there, and I preached at their Ritvik temple, and they were very happy. So then I told them, look, in a couple of months, Gurudev is coming. You can all go and see him. So they all went to hear Gurudev, and they all decided, okay, this is a real Guru. He's like Prabhupada. And about 10 or 12 of these people, they surrendered completely to Gurudev and took initiation. So it was very beautiful. So about 6-8 months later, when I went back there, one of the disciples told me, from Gurudev's disciples, his original disciples, the one who invited the Ritvik people, they told me, Maharaj, they have Gurudev's picture on the altar, but they don't have Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. I said, okay, we'll go there. I'm having programs. They said, yes, you're doing 3 programs there. I said, okay. So for 3 days, I told the glories of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav. And I sang some of the songs that he wrote, Prabhupada Arti. I gave a lecture about Radhavinod Bihari Tattvastakam. I told about all his pastimes with his guru, with Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta, all these things. So after that, they put the picture of Srila Bhakti-Pragyan Keshav. So then I told this story to Srila Gurudev. I said, Gurudev, this is what's going on there, and this is what happened. And now they have accepted your Guru Maharaj, they put his picture on there. So then came the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav. And we there in front of the picture, and everyone, Gurudev did the arti and the flowers. So after he offered Pushpanjali, he turned around, he was looking, and he saw me, and he said, so I came. He put his arm around me, he brought me close. He took out my hand, he put a big pile of flowers in the hand, he said, now you offer flowers to my Guru Maharaj. This one's very special for me. he was inviting me in. He gave me chance that you have glorified my Gurudev and established his picture on the altar in a foreign country. So you please, now, I give you permission more. So these were some pastimes I had with Gurudev. I wanted to tell you these stories this morning, and tonight I will tell you about the intimacy between Srila Prabhupada and Srila. So, I'm speaking long enough. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpa Now this is red.
All of the batteries on the side.
Do you want to receive?
I feel very uncomfortable right now as I'm sitting so.
I'm not trying to shun anybody, and I'm not trying to make a false display of humility by sitting in the back and by the bathroom. What it is a periodic, I get a flare-up in my lower back. I'm using a TENS machine,
Oh.
I have to sit up to rate. And these kind of furnitures, your butt goes down and your legs go up, and it doesn't work. But here I'm like, and I'm not completely now, my legs hurt, but
Can you come?
in the front?
Yeah.
I suppose, but then everybody can see me falling asleep. Then I'm exposed.
I have no inspiration, but when I see your face, then I become inspired.
Yeah, what you don't want to be. Can I take this? Is this anybody's?
Maharaj, would you like a chair?
Sitting here, but
What if you have a chair with a straight back?
yeah, right there, the blue one.
Like this?
No, no,
this
he
side.
means
No,
like,
no,
he
no,
means like
side,
this. He means
side
like
of
this.
chair.
I don't know.
What about this
This
one?
one?
It's not so straight though.
What about this chair?
Wait a minute, let's not make a big production. What's pillow?
I know him better, that's why I didn't need to sit here. I need to sit here.
You sent your minion.
There you go. That's better. Vrindavan Vihai Lal ki jai, Vaisani Wali ki jai, Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Oh, a bit louder. Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Govind Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai, Radha Hai, Govind Jai Jai.
Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai, Govinda Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai, Radhika Ramana Ambujanayana, Radhika Ramana Ambujanayana, Radhika Ramana Radhika Ramana Ambujanayana, Radhika Ramana Ambujanayana, Radhika Ramana Ambujanayana, Gopi Parana Dhana Man Mata Man Mata, Gopi Parana Man Mata, Gopi Parana Dhana Man Mata Man Mata, Gopi Parana Man Mata Gopi Paranadhara Manmatma Mata, Gopi Paranadhara Manmatma, Gopi Paranadhara Manmatma Mata, Gopi Paranadhara Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmatiya Paramarada Tama Guru Pada Padma, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Ashtotara Satusri Rupanugacharya Varya Sila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to his Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to Ananyatidandi Padagan, Srimati Shamarani Didi, and all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Vanchakam, So I feel most blessed and fortunate today to have the opportunity to come to this supremely pure, transcendental holy place, Srimati Shamarani's Bhajan Kuti.
Jai! Haribo!
So this is not an ordinary place, and today I had the fortune to have the darshan. I think it's the first time of the completed painting of the Kunja Kirtan. And here, from Srimati Shamarani Didi, all the very beautiful instructions Srila Gurudev gave, by which his heart and his Nitya Seva, his eternal services, could be manifested. Srila Prabhupada said, these paintings are the windows to the spiritual world, actually. So, one very profound point that Srila Gurudev said. You see, this painting, it is based on one prayer from Sri Vilapa Kusumanjali. Brajendra vasati stale, bibida balavi sankule, tame varati manjari, prachura punja pundodaya. Vilasambhara misrita, pranai me kalmadane, yudajani tanataya, brajasi natitagandaram. How Rupamanjari is saying, Ratimanjari, you are so fortunate that Radhika, of all the beautiful and qualified gopis of Vrindavan, she has selected you to perform this seva of retrieving her mekala, her waist belts. Very beautiful. But Srila Gurudev says that actually Sri Vilapa Kusumanjali and Srimad Bhagavatam, they are interdependent. Is it correct? Very profound point. In other words, Srila Gurudev is saying, without going deeply into Srimad Bhagavatam, you cannot understand what is being expressed in Sri Vilapa Kusumanjali. And without going into Sri Vilapa Kusumanjali, you cannot understand what is being expressed in a hidden way in Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? This is Kunja Kirtan, Rasa Lila. Srimad Bhagavatam gives the divine, astonishing context. And then Sri Vilapa Kusumanjali is giving some details within that context. So, only the details without the context will not give the full meaning. And only the context without details, then you cannot go more deeply into it. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Kunja Kirtans have been very beautifully described. Upagiyamana Udkayan Vanita Shatayutapaha Malambi Bradavai Jayantim Ryacharan Mandanam Banam. Kirtan is going on. Radha and Krishna and gopis have met. And beautiful kirtan is going on. How is this kirtan going on? Upagiyamana Udghayan means, first, this is the origin of kirtan in this world. This is the origin of the Sankirtan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Upagiyamana Udghayan means one person is singing and then all the others are replying. And then one person is singing and all the others are replying. So in the Vishnu Purana, it is said that during the Ras, Sri Krishna was describing the beauty of Vrindavan. Because everything in Vrindavan reminds him of the beauty of Radhika. He was describing the beauty of the night blooming kumad flowers and lilies, and the beautiful lakes of crystal clear water illuminated by the rays of the moon and humming bumblebees. So Krishna began to sing. Yamini krita ruchi suchi kantis chandrika bale biba vichakasri Shatpadali kalita kalagita Pasyabati kumadar karesha. Pasyabati, oh gopis, look! Kumudakara Asia, at this beautiful lake full of kumud flowers. Yamini Kritaruchi Suchikantis, and this night has become beautified by the rays of the moon. Chandraka Valadiba Vikatasri. Shatpadali means, Shatpada means those who have 6 legs. Shatpada. So those who have 6 legs, that means the bumblebees. Shatpadali Kalita Kalagita. The bumblebees are singing very beautiful songs, making a very sweet atmosphere here. So Krishna is singing in this way, and gopis are repeating. But they don't repeat the exact words of Krishna, they just change a few syllables. Kamini Krita Ruchi Suchi Kantis Chandra Kavala Vipa Vikatasri Satpadali Kalita Karagita Pasyabati Kumuda Karaisha. They're saying, not Yamini Kritaruchi Suchikanti, the night has become beautified by the rays of the moon, but rather Kamini Kritaruchi Suchikanti, Krishna is beautified by being surrounded by so many Kamini, attractive gopis overflowing with love for him. Not Chandrika Vibhavati Vichakasri, not that the lake is being illuminated by the Chandrika, the light of the moon, but Chandraka. That means the eyes on Krishna's peacock feathers are reflecting Vichakasri and making the breasts of the gopis appear more beautiful with their rainbow colors reflecting onto them from the peacock feathers' eyes. Shatpadali, not Shatpadali. 6-legged ones, Satpadali, means Krishna is singing Satpada, perfectly composed poetry. Pasya Bhati Kumudakara Esha. Look, Pasya, Kumudakara, at the lake which is full of kumud flowers. No. Kumuda Akara. Krishna is so beautiful that his Akara, his form, is Muda, giving joy to cool the entire world. So out of the intensity of their love, spontaneously Krishna is singing poetry about the beauty of Vrindavan, and the gopis are returning the kirtan. Samaj Gayan, this is the origin of the Samaj Gayan. The Vaishnavas singing and then replying. And gopis are replying, but because they're so absorbed in Krishna, they cannot speak anything other than Krishna's glories. So just a few syllables are changed here and there. Chandrika becomes Chandraka, Yamini becomes Kamini, Kumuda becomes Kumuda, Spada becomes Satpada. And in this way, everything is transformed into expression of their love for Shri Krishna. So the Rasa Leela is going on like this. Shukadeva Goswami Pad, he said, Tatrati Sushubetabi Bhagavan Devaki Sutta Madhyay Manina Mahaimanam Mahamarakatoyata. That at that time, See, Krishna looks ati, not only Shubha, beautiful, but Sushubha, beautifully beautiful. There's no word for it. Not only Sushubha, beautifully beautiful, but Tatra ati Sushubha, excessively beautifully beautiful. Shukadeva Goswami said. And why does he look so beautiful at that time? Because just as Marakatamani, that means an emerald. If a jewel is just sitting there, it's not so beautiful. But if an expert craftsman knows how to set the jewel in a circle of gold, then its colors are really manifest and looks so beautiful. So Krishna looks more beautiful because he's like a Marakatamani set in a circle of gold, the dancing gopis in the Rasa Leela. But here the question comes. Krishna is like Ujjwala Nilamani. Nilamani means a sapphire. Sapphires are blue. But here it says Marakatamani. Emerald is green. How is it possible? There's one Brajbasi poem. Merabhava badaharo Radha nagar soy Jatan ki chai pare Sham harita juti hoy Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Oh Radhika, please take away the obstacles to my bhajan. This is not very difficult for you to do because you are so beautiful, you are so powerful, you are so influential that when Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, comes next to you and your shadow falls upon him, then when your golden effulgence falls upon the Sham Sundar Krishna, then Sham Harita Jyoti Hoy, he becomes green like an emerald. Blue and gold become green. So Krishna looks more beautiful here. So all gopis are dancing and singing with Krishna. It is very astonishing. In this dancing, there is in Sangeet, that means in music, in Sangeet, there are three things. First one is the Gayan, singing. Then the next one is Vadya, Vaditra Vadyam Manasorasana, playing musical instruments. And the next one is Nritya, dancing. And when all of these three are combined together, it's called Tauryantrika. Tauryantrika. So in this Rasa Leela, all the arts have come together in this supreme art of Tauryantrika. So, you know who's expert in Tauryantrika? The Gandharvas. But Radhika is more expert in playing musical instruments, singing and dancing than all the Gandharvikas, and that's why her name is Gandharvike Nijagane Gananam Videhi. Rupa Goswami prays. Oh, that Radhika, who displays her astonishing artistic skills. So of the musical instruments, there are four types. The first type is called the Yantra, Tantri Vadya. Tantri Vadya means stringed instruments. So that is the Veena, the Tanpur, Esraj, all these instruments, they're the stringed instruments. And then you have the Ahata Vadya. Ahata Vadya means the instruments that you strike, the drums, mridanga. And then you have the Shushir Vadya. Shushir Vadya means wind instruments, like Sri Krishna's flute and the Shanai. So Krishna is playing on his flute. You can see in the painting. Krishna is taking his flute. Shukadeva Goswami said, Vivita Gopa Charaneshu Vidagdo Venu Vadya Urudani Jashikshaha Tavasuta Sati Yathadara Bimbe Data Venu Anayat Swarajati Shavana Shastarupa Daya Sureisha Shakra Sarva Paramesti Purogaha Kavaya Anata Kandarachita Kashmalam Yayo Anish Chitta Tattva. Krishna is very expert in all the arts of cowherd boys, in taking cows to graze and everything. But of all the things, he has the vidagda, artistic skill. Venu vadya, urudani jashiksha. He is playing his flute. He plays the flute in so many ragas. You know, there are 8,400,000 ragas. I only have about 100 programmed in here. But there are 8,400,000 ragas, and there are 16,000 prominent ones. So all 16,000 ragas are expressed by Braj Gopis and Krishna in this Rasalila. Urudani Jashiksha means that not only the 8,400,000 ragas which are known are there, but Krishna plays new ragas that Nija Shiksha he taught himself. That no one knows even. So Shukadev Goswami is saying, Kashmaladayo Anishtita Tattva, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and all the devatas who are expert in the arts, when they hear Krishna playing a raga, they listen and they try to catch it. What is that? Is that Malharag? Is Dhanashri Rag? What is this? And then it unfolds in such a way that they cannot understand what it is. And Anishtita Tattva, Kandara, Chitta, their hearts become broken and they bow their heads in shame. I thought that I was a PhD in music. But I cannot understand the rag and tal and lai. That means the melodies, the rhythms, and the speeds which are employed by Sri Krishna when he's playing his flute, and the gopis when they are dancing. So then, how many types of instruments do we have? First of all, Tantrivadya, the string instruments. Then, the ahata, the ones which are struck, the mridangas. Then,
The wind.
Shushir Vadya, the wind instruments. And the last one, they're called Dhanavadya. Dhanavadya means those for the rhythm, such as kartals, jampa. And included in the Dhanavadya, kartals and jampa, is also Nupur, ankle bells. And also Nupur, kinkini, waist bells, and also balai, bangles. So Krishna and Radhika and the gopis are wearing 3 types of instruments themselves. So they dance. When they dance, then these instruments are accompanying as well. But you see, when you play one kartal, if you play kartal, or you ring a bell, or you play some ankle bell by moving your feet, that instrument can only make one swara, one note. But because in the spiritual world everything is alive, Radhika's ornaments are Nupur Sati. It is Radanga Sangini. Radanga Sangini. It is one of her associates which decorates her limbs. So her ankle bells are alive. Her kinkini is Radanga Sangini. Her balai, her bangles are Radanga Sangini Sakhis. And also Krishna's ankle bells, his waist bells and bangles, they're all Sakhis. So when they move, and these are jingling and making all the various rhythms, all the tals, then they also follow the swara, the notes. So they have swara, they're in the right key, and they also follow the melody as well. So it is something quite astonishing, that all their body ornaments are singing and also following the notes of the raga. So they're dancing like this. Yesterday we began to mention something about the dancing in the Rasalila. Padanyasa bujagadu tibi sasvita bru vilasai bajam majais chalkuta patai kundala gandalolaya svityamukya kavarasana grantaya krishna bhatvo gayantastam tadita ivata mega chakre virejahu. All gopis were dancing. The sky was filled with the joy of their singing. But at a certain point, Radha and Krishna came face to face in the middle of the Rasalila, and all the gopis stopped dancing and just watched them. Because now there's going to be a dance-off. Who is it? Who has the most vidagda, the most skills in the arts? Radha or Krishna? So, padanyasa means the way of placing the feet. This is another interpretation of the verse. As they're placing the feet, according to the towel. Tai ta tai tai ta ta tai tai. Drimiki 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 triki 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 tak bo patam tam. Like this. So Radhika, she moves her feet in this way, and Krishna sees it, then he has to also make the same move. It's like it's a competition. Yes. So then Krishna's moving his feet and making the same steps. Then Radharani is doing the same with her arms. Drimiki drimiki tak bo patam tam. Then Krishna is also imitating like this. And Radharani is making it more and more complicated. Sasmita Bhru Vilas, then Radharani is doing the towel, and the rhythms with her smile, with her mouth. And Krishna is also smiling back like this. Then Radharani is dancing with her eyebrows and with her eyes. And Krishna is doing the same. And all the Sakhis are watching. Adbhut. Astonishing. Dvadjan madhyais chalakuta patayi. And then Radharani, madhyai means the waist. Radharani begins to dance around. I don't know if you've seen the Brijbasi girls when they dance. And the hips, yeah. So Radharani begins to move, and she's Gajagamani, she has large hips and very narrow waist. And she's dancing around in such a way, it seems as if her waist will break. Chalakuta patai. And her veil, as she's spinning, her veil is going like a flag. Chalakuta patai. Kucha patai. But all her earrings are moving. But breast is not moving because she's Navakishori. Not old. Chalakutapate, Kundalai Kandalolai. And her earrings, they are swinging, casting reflections upon her beautiful cheeks. Sudyanmukha. And perspiration is coming. But the perspiration isn't coming because she's dancing so quickly. It's not coming because she's so soft and tender and gentle and unable to take the stress of the very intense dancing. The perspiration is coming because it's a sattvika bhav. It's an expression, a manifestation of her praying for Krishna. So due to praying, the perspiration is appearing on the forehead of Srimati Radhika. Now Radhika is wearing bandini. Bandini means it's an ornament of pearls on her forehead. But when the pearls of perspiration appear, then the bandini becomes embarrassed. Because the beauty of the pearls in her forehead decoration is defeated by the beauty of the pearls of her perspiration. Chalakute kundalai gandalolai. Sudyanmukha kabara rasana. Kabara means Radharani. Radharani's hair is so many different hairstyles. You know, Dammilla, kabara. And so one of them is called Dammilla, that means a ponytail. So Radharani had a kabara ponytail tied with a string. So Kabara rasana agrantaya means her hair was tied in a knot with a silk string. But as she was dancing so quickly, the silk string fell out and her hair became open. Now her hair is going also everywhere. Kabara rasana. Grantaya Krishna Bhattho. And Sudyanmukha Kabara can mean that the perspiration is appearing on her face and then going into the curls of her hair. And as she's turning and stopping, her hair is swinging and drops are coming out from the tips of her hair. The pearls of perspiration emanating from the tips of her hair when she moves quickly and stops them. Kabarasana. Grantya Krishna Vadvo. Krishna Vadvo means Krishna Vadvo, the wives of Krishna. No, slow down. This is Parakiya Rasa.
Haribo.
Not Sukhiya. So Krishna Vadvo cannot mean the wives of Krishna. What it means is Vadva. Vadva means Badnati iti Vadva. Who has bound Krishna by the ropes of their love is called the Vadhu. And they're not Krishna Vadhu, the wives of Krishna, but they're the wives of other gopis. Gayantas tam. In the next line, Gayantas means singing. So they are singing Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, at the top of their voice. Krishna Vadhu. Gayantas tam tarida ivata mega chakra virejahu. And as Radhika is dancing with Sri Krishna, then she looks like a streak of lightning on a fresh rain cloud. The reason why Shukadev Goswami said this is because when there's a flash of lightning, when the lightning appears, there are two things: illumination and thunder. So the thunder is the music of the Rasalila, and the illumination is the very quick movements of of Radhika's arms, expressing so many mudras. Another reason why Shukadeva Goswami said, Mega Chakre Virejahu, the analogy of the cloud and the lightning, is because, have you ever seen a lightning without a cloud? Not possible. Lightning cannot exist without a cloud for even 1 second. So, in the same way, Srimati Radhika cannot exist for 1 second without Sri Krishna. So, Mega Chakre Virejahu. And another reason why Shukadeva Goswami has said Mega Chakre Virejahu in Radhika's dancing is because previously he said Krishna is like a marakata, money, a jewel set in gold. But the beauty of a jewel set in gold depends on the skill of the craftsman. If the craftsman will mess up the setting or cut the jewel in the wrong way, then the beauty will not manifest. Like the Kohinoor diamond was taken from India. But when it ended up in the crown jewels of Queen Victoria, it was the jewelsmith. He was an expert, and it was broken into 3 parts and not set so beautifully. But before, it had so many carats. So it depends on the skill of the artist. But Radha Krishna's skill does not depend on, it is not artificial. It is completely natural. That means that their singing and dancing is not rehearsed. It's not that they practiced before, like today there's going to be a drama and you've all been practicing the drama, and now you hope that you'll come and do the drama exactly like you practiced it. But rather, Mega Chakra Virejahu, not artificially, not done by someone else, not dependent on any skills, but rather naturally, spontaneously appearing. The singing and dancing of Radha and Krishna is like that. So Mega Chakra Virejahu. So after Radha and Krishna were dancing like this for some time, then the Sakhis, they thought, oh, they're becoming somewhat tired. So we should sit down and have Kunj Kirtan. So then the Sakhis brought Radha and Krishna and sat them down in a kunj on a carpet of flowers. So now Radha and Krishna are sitting down on a carpet of flowers, and the Sakhis are surrounding them, sitting all around them. And they're singing. Oh, from the core of their heart they're singing. Now it's time for Krishna and Lalita and Vishaka and Radhika to have a singing competition. They've had a dance-off, now they're going to have a sing-off. Kachit samam mukundena swarajati amisritaha onindyahi pujitatena priyata sarusadviti tadeva dhruvamuninye tasyaimanam chabhagadat tadeva dhruvamuninye tasyaimanam chabhagadat. They sit. Vishaka Sakhi said, Krishna, we are all singing together, but in a group, when there is a group chorus, then one's individual skill cannot be manifest. One's individual skill cannot be manifest. So it's better if Krishna, can you just sing a solo? And I will sing a solo. And then we can really see, because if there's a crowd and one person is, their note is a little bit off, no one notices. Right? So can you sing solo? I will sing solo. Oh, and the Lalita came and brought a veena. So now Krishna is sweating a little bit. Because if there's a very skilled singer or musician and he invites an ordinary musician, oh come, can you sing? Then that ordinary musician is sweating. So Krishna is a little shy and hesitant. But unfortunately, we ran out of time. So, please, no, but we have to stick to the schedule. So, I can tell a little something. What is this kunj like this? With Radha Krishna sitting down, the Sakhis around them, and now the dance-off was complete. Now it's time for the sing-off. What will happen? We'll explain in the evening. Bole Vrindavana Vihara ki jai, Varsani Wali ki jai, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam.
There's a saying, always leave them wanting more.
Acha. So, which rag shall we select?
One little kirtan first.
Madhyan Arti.
Madhyan Arti?
Oh.
Yashomati Nanda? Yes, of course.
And then Prasad. So we'll do kirtan here for Radha Govinda, and then we're setting up outside to have Prasad.
We should sit here and sing Yashomati Nanda from here or get up
Stand
and...
in front of
Yes,
Prasad.
okay, yes.
We already have offerings complete, so they're ready to receive our kirtan.
Beautiful.
So all cushions and everything to the side, and we'll be here.
No, no, no. Please forgive me if I... Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranandana Gokula Ranjana Gana Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranandana Gokula Ranjana Yashomati Nandana Brajabara Nandana Gokula Ranjana Yashomati Nandana Hare God's understanding. More people will get benefit. Yes, give me time for that.
Niche Vishnu Mishra Bharat Tara Sanshri Mad Rupanag Acharya Shri Bhakti Radhanaya Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Niche Vishnu Mishra Bharat Tara Sanshri Mad Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Niche Vishnu Mishra Bharat Tara Sanshri Mad Param Pujapad Shri Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Niche Vishnu Mishra Bharat Tara Sanshri Mad Shri Bhakti Vedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Vishnu Mishra Bharat Saraswati Shri Shrimad Shri Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Vishnu Mishra Bharat Saraswati Shri Shrimad Shri Bhakti Balabhati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Vishnu Mishra Bharat Saraswati Shri Shrimad Shri Bhakti Daita Maharaj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Vishnu Mishra Bharat Saraswati Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace Shri A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Vishnu Mishra Bharat Saraswati Shri Shrimad Acharya Keshari Shri Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Swat Parashad Shri Prabhupada Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Mahabhagavat Shri Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Saptam Goswami Shri Satchinanda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Gaudi Vedanta Acharya Shri Baladev Vijayabhushan Guru Ki Jai Rasik Shiromani Shri Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Chai Ki Jai Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai Shri Gauriya Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Mata Ragana Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Ragana Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Swarup Damodar Dori Daman Adi Shri Gaur Parashad Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shahidas Thakur Ki Jai Ishwar Puripal Madhavendra Puripal Ki Jai Prem Se Gaho Se Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Adadip Marpur Simadadip Gozamadip Madadip Koladip Rudadip Jadadip Modadip Shri Namadip Dhamma Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwara Savaramaka Shri Brajamandala Ki Jai Radha Kun Shama Kun Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Purnamasi Yoga Maya Devi Ki Jai Gopashwa Mahadevi Ki Jai Shri Mandala Jagatpuri Dhamma Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Shivaji Sirashan Shaka Ki Jai Sarva Vigna Gnasana Shri Shimire Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Prava Shri Pada Maharaj Ki Jai Chara Samadaya Chara Dham Chara Acharya Ki Jai Akara Madhura Shri Chaitanya Mata Ki Jai Akara Madhura Shri Keshaji Gauri Mata Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Hari Nam Prabhu Ki Jai Samagata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Gaura Sitanata Premananda Hari Bol Shri Shamarani Ki Jai Bhakti Vedanta Vaikanas Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Vedanta Bhagat Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Prem Virojan Prabhu Ki Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. So now we'll gather outside for Prashadam, now that it's warmed up to a temperature that will be fitting to say the word.
No kidding.
So we have tarps. Everyone will sit down. If you're not sitting, you're leaving.